Hi, today I'm going to be doing something different. As you can see, I'm picking up trash on my own street. It gets really disgusting. Oh, by the way, right here are very heavy waterlogged newspapers that are eventually going to cause me to abandon this bag and get a new one. Hi, I'm Alex, and usually on this channel, I'm cleaning my house while I talk about whatever is on my mind. I considered making this a new channel where I would just pick up trash. I wondered if there are other channels where people pick up trash, and sure enough, there sure are plenty of them. There's a guy in the UK who cleans up parks, and he even gets bags through the city where he lives, which is great. I don't have bags, but I did get some tips for from his channel, which is one of them. Yes, sometimes you can request to get trash bags for free. I'm using my own. The other thing is a hoop that will keep the bag open. What I'm using here, that rectangle, that's sort of keeping my bag open, but it's not very good at that, is my own trash can insert, which holds the bag in the trash bin. But it is hardly working here because I put those soggy newspapers in there. It's already really heavy and the bag keeps sliding off, so that's annoying. Another thing he recommends is to get, instead of this grabber device, to get some kind of tongs that are just very long tongs, because he says any one of these that he's tried has always broken after a short amount of time. No matter how much research he did into the best grabber tool, they break. And let me tell you, this is quite a workout for your hand. If you do this a lot, or if you do this for more than a couple of minutes, it really starts to hurt your hand, which I'm assuming is an added bonus because my hand is getting stronger. So, as some of you may know, I live in New York City and it is filthy disgusting. I have enough trouble keeping my own home under control, so this is just something I started doing recently because it was so depressing how disgusting the street was. And I just kept thinking, like, why doesn't somebody clean it up? Why doesn't somebody pick it up? And you know what? Somebody must do it at some point. The sidewalks themselves, I do see people once in a while from the city with a rolling bin and a dustpan, but I don't want to say they do a terrible job, but most of the time they're just walking slowly and not really picking up, because I understand it's a really low stakes job, and most of the time, because somebody has to pick it up, right? Because if nobody ever picked it up, then it would just be like knee deep, the garbage. I think mostly it's the residents, and it's getting rare where people like actually own the building. So these types of buildings I'm in are smaller, so they usually don't have a maintenance person on staff, like somebody who deals with the garbage and like cleaning of the common areas. Most of these buildings don't have that. So I think once in a while a resident, or rarely an owner, will come and clean up in front of their apartment building. As much as I've complained about my own neighbors, which you can see evidence of in some previous videos, well, they do clean up in front of our building a little bit because they don't want the fine that can come with the city. And what happens on a day like today, when the garbage is picked up, is that even more of it flies out of the bins or whatever during collections, so the streets tend to be even more disgusting during those days. Oh, here I am getting another bag. The rule is that you have to clean your side part of the sidewalk as well as the sidewalk, mm, the street, where a few inches into the street. And you'll see later in the video the um the street sweeper comes through. And it's been a very long time since we've had those working because there was snow on the ground. When there's snow, there's no alternate side parking, and there's no like street sweeper because with the snow it would be too difficult. But the street cleaning happens like on every street at least once a week in New York City, and it's not really for the cleanliness, but it's more to get tickets from giving people, get money from giving people tickets when they don't move their car. And I think that's a huge revenue for the city. Oh, and there's something really disgusting right there. Anyway, so you'll see the street sweeper later, and it does very little at all. It does pick up a little bit, but most of the trash gets like pushed back onto the sidewalk. So, yeah, the cleanliness of the street sweeping is more for the city's revenue. I have gotten those parking tickets quite often. Not really. No, I wouldn't say that. Like maybe a couple of times a year. Like I just don't remember where the car's parked, that it has to be moved, or that um somebody's sick, like if my kids are home or something, I might just space out and my husband drives the car. Sometimes to work, sometimes he does not drive it. So it's not a routine where I always know like exactly where it is and when it needs to be moved. Having a car in the city already is kind of difficult due to parking. I was 40 years old when I got my first car ever because I've never really needed one. I used to borrow my parents' car when I lived in Maryland, and then when I moved to New York, I just didn't have one. When I went back to Ukraine, to Kiev, it's a big city, I didn't need one either. Oh, here comes, okay, yeah, it picked up all that. No, it didn't pick up anything, so check it out. I'm gonna go over here. Yep, that's like all the stuff it does not pick up. Um, anyways, I think this is why like the residents supposed to clean up the street also into like a few inches into the street because those things don't really do anything. And the resident is supposed to do that or else to get a fine, which again is a way for the city to make money. Who doesn't get fines are people who leave mass amounts of their dog, excuse me, shit all over the place. And for some reason, this became super awful during the snowstorms. It's not just the contrast that you could see it better. There was something about the snow where people just decided, F it, I'm not bending over to pick this up. Even though it's super visible, it's against this white background. As the snow would melt, it would become like a disgusting pile. And I go back and forth between thinking like this is just nobody picks it up to, if a couple of people don't pick it up and they have their dogs go on your street, then every day there's like one or two piles from one or two dogs, and it's not like they magically disappear the next day, then there's like another pile the next day. So I'm really baffled as to, like, I can kind of understand the trash, but I don't understand because those people who leave their dog crap are also walking on the sidewalk. Like, next time they're gonna walk by without their dog, and even if they don't live on that street, okay, this specific street is like a highway it's not a highway obviously, but it's a corridor for people to get to the public transportation. So chances are, if you walk here with your dog, that you're going to walk here to get to a major subway or bus stop. I don't, haven't those people stepped in a pile of dog crap? Really baffles me why, after having the experience of having stepped in it once or twice, you would think it's probably worth cleaning up. The pain in the butt that it is to clean off my shoe, especially when I'm off to somewhere, I don't have time to go home, deal with this. There's no way to clean this up. I have to like find a patch of grass and rub my feet in it. I don't get it. It's so bad. And today is actually not that bad. But on the average day, like walk to school or something, I'm constantly stopping the kids, like, you're about to step in it, walk around. And it's not just like on the edge of the street, it's absolutely everywhere. Which brings me to another point, which is, why is it so bad? Why am I just picking up, okay, forget the dog crap. Let's just talk about the litter. Why can I fill like two garbage bags with just trash on one side of a single block? And I've seen this, people ask this on Reddit or other forums, like, why is it so disgusting? I read a comment about Coney Island, which is like a beach with a theme park and a lot of kind of like smaller, crappy boardwalk restaurants. And it's one of the dirtiest places in the world. I don't even know what I would compare it to. I've never been anywhere that dirty, and somebody was wondering why it was that bad. Despite there being a trash can every like 20 feet on the beach. So imagine like the length and width of the beach. There's a trash can you can get to within like a 30-second walk. And those trash cans are overflowing. Every single one of them is overflowing because there's the volume of people is just too much. Then, and this is kind of what I feel like. It's not that people don't care. Okay, it is that people don't care. But it's so overwhelming living here, and you're bombarded with so much visual clutter already that you don't even notice the trash. Like, you don't even notice the people. People can be having, and I've done this too, a very personal conversation or crying or something like that on the phone. And and we are just trained to tune out the fact that we're living like crammed on top of each other with noise and visual stimulation constantly coming at us, bombarding us. So the little details, people can't even recognize that they exist. I've lived in this city for decades, and this is the first time I decided to pick up the trash after doing tons of like mindfulness, meditative, um, calming exercises. And then I looked around and I started to see the details. Same as like in my home, I also became more aware of how the dirt and the chaos is impacting me mentally. But for the average person, if you're in it day in and day out, you just it just becomes background noise and too overwhelming to see the individual pieces or to see your own contribution or to say, well, I could spend between 5 minutes and 30 minutes, like making at least in front of my house a little bit better. Like, the lives are so chaotic and stressful, especially in cities, that people don't really care and they don't have gardens or other places where they can like take care of their house. So it's like the second you step out of your apartment, it's not yours. You don't consider it as something that you need to be like proud of. Okay, here is the our trash bin outside the house, and the trash got picked up, but you see all of that little crap in there, and it's literally crap. A lot of that is dog poop bags. And they don't, once the trash can gets lifted up and turned over, that little stuff on the bottom that's held there by, well, like a bunch of garbage juice, there it goes, it's dripping. um that stuff never makes it into the bin, so I got into the habit of doing this at least like every couple of weeks or once a month. I try to do this because not a single other person in the building cares. Okay, here's some garbage juice. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching as always. See you in the next one.